Louis Riel and the Métis founders of Manitoba saw the Manitoba Act as a treaty between the Métis Nation and Canada. And a lot of the Métis in Saskatchewan wanted to have similar provisions in the Saskatchewan country around Batoche, to have similar provisions for the Métis here in what's now Saskatchewan.
And the Métis there have farms and land issues that they need secured, just like they did in Manitoba. So, and you know, a lot of people call it the Riel Rebellion, right? We like to call it a resistance, because you have to remember that between Gabriel Dumont and Louis Riel, they sent probably 80 petitions to the Government of Canada requesting negotiations like they had in Manitoba. How many responses did we get? None.
That's where it started, at the Battle of Duck Lake in March 1885. That was the first battle of the resistance with Dumont and some of his men and some of the Northwest Mounted Police. So that's where it started, and then from there it was an uprising.
In the 1885 Riel Rebellion, or resistance, depending on what you want to call it, the captain of the local company, the D Company, which was part of the Midland Battalion, was my great-uncle, Charles Henry Winslow, who lived here on this farm. And he was charged with recruiting soldiers to go out west. They get to go and oppose the most hated thing that they could ever want to oppose, which is the Catholic religion. More even than I think, you know, Riel's desire for self-government, for territory in Saskatchewan, and for acknowledgement of their territory. I think for the guys going from here, that was probably a secondary thing. I'm sure there was racism, but against the Métis and against First Nations. But I think really what trumped it all was that we as God, fighting for God and for Queen and for country, we can go out and we can oppose this massive Catholic threat.
So we tried to negotiate. We tried to extend peace. They came with arms and they came firing. So all of a sudden we were defending our territory. So we resisted them taking over our territory without fair and just negotiation and compensation.
Number one gun ready. Number one, fire!
They were outgunned big time, and the Métis resistors, you know, fought to the last, but they had such superior firepower against them. You know, it was the first use of the Gatling gun in modern Canadian warfare, and that was used on people, you know, and they were in these little rifle pits and being just pounded. And all ages of people were being shot at. There was one Métis fighter who was 93 years old who was out there in the pits fighting for his community and for his freedom.
Between May 9th and May 12th, the Battle of Batoche was fought between the Dominion of Canada and a small pocket of the Métis Nation, with some First Nation support, mainly kinfolk that were Dakota and also Cree from the local One Arrow Reserve. And the battle was fairly hard fought. It was bloody. Not a lot of people were killed, but the last day of the battles, when most of the deaths came, and it became fast and furious, the Métis line broke and the army came through.